And hey, hello, buddy. Hi, welcome back to Vampires Stuff. This is survived 2 weeks on to 3.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Maybe we'll get through 3. But hi, welcome.
Are you guys thirsty? You should probably drink something.
Drinking stuff sounds really good after I start page music, just so that we have some music going.
Chug.
Thanks, Dixon. I appreciate you looking out for us.
See, Dixon, that's why we love you, man.
Just taking care of us, really.
He always
really
does.
looking out.
He always does.
Hi, Raven.
Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome back. I'm Raetog. This is my Chicago by Night game, and these are all my friends who want to play this weird game with me.
Hi.
So we'll do what we always do.
I'm gonna be muted for a second.
Okay, we'll do you last. He's talking to his own his own chat. Ooh.
We'll do him.
So, brief introduction of me. Hi, I'm Raetog. This is my Chicago by Night game. I've been playing Vampire for a very long time, and I picked up Chicago by Night by Onyx Path Publishing, and it finally gave me the balls to run my own vampire game, so I'm going to do it. This is Season 2. A couple people down here have played in Season 1. And we decided to inflict this upon the internet, because that's fun. A couple new people. All friends, all around. But, yeah. It'll be fun. So, starting... Why the hell not? Seamus, who the hell are you? Who are you playing?
Seamus, I'm playing Roland, a toreador of no renown. No, ignore the man behind the curtain. I've been playing Vampire for more than 10 years. It's been a while since I've last played, so I'm happy to jump back into it, and I'm enjoying myself.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
Cheers, indeed. While I take inebriating beverage as well. Matt, who the hell are you? Who are you playing? And how much fun are we having?
I am Matt. I had never played Vampire until our first season that we didn't stream. So there's that. I play Magdalena, the beautiful and deadly Ventru. And you can find me on the Twitterverse at Matt of the Age there, at Matt of the H there, underneath my name. And hopefully we don't die tonight.
I mean, it's a social event. How bad could it go?
Very, very. Have you ever been to a social event?
Have you met Mercy yet?
Speaking of social events, Missouri! How are you doing? Who are you? Who are you playing? And where can everybody find you?
Yes, I am Mrs. Missouri on all the platforms that I use, here on Twitch, on Twitter, on TikTok, which I plan to actually use soon to document my new adventures. So find me there. But I play Mercy Grace. She is a darling woman, very sweet, very naive, who just has woken up as a vampire. She is of some clan with some sire. Nobody knows. She may die tonight.
I know.
Hopefully she... Shut up, you. Hopefully she proves herself useful and does not die. But we will see. And so yes, I've never played Vampire the Masquerade. This is my very first game. It's my second ever D&D type game. And dear Lord, please don't kill me off.
That may or may not be what tonight's festivities are about. So, Tia, we'll hit you next.
I'm Jen, or Tia Noir on Twitch. I'm not a streamer of any type, although you will find me on some of Raetog's games, or restreams.
Lots of Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, mostly, yes. I was in Season 1 of Raetog's game. I played Persephone, the badass La Sombra.
That was.
And now I'm playing 6, the Ghoul.
All right, I'm back.
Perfect timing.
Okay. Wow,
Literal perfect timing, because it's your turn. Who the hell are you, sir? Who are you playing, and where can everybody find you who isn't tuned into Kiso's stream right now?
My name is Kasogo. I am I stream on my channel, Kazoko Plays. I mainly play narrative and story games, as well as narrative and story games, and the occasional co-op game, things like that. One second, I realized something. Okay, there you go. What am I talking about? Oh, recently
You.
I've just been able to be streaming this. I'm planning on starting the second playthrough of Nier Automata soon,
Ooh.
and then which I finished the first one and I have to play the second one, so I'm pretty excited about that. Other than that, I manage a craft cocktail bar. I've been in the industry for over 10 years, and it's fun. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
I
We
drink
need to
professionally,
do
basically.
an in-person game where you make us all unique drinks based on our characters.
I could definitely do that.
that is
Yeah.
a great conversation we absolutely need to have.
I can definitely do that.
And
Even to see what he comes up for me.
according
It's just gonna be shit in a glass for you.
Right?
I'm gonna make custom drinks for each one of you guys. Each one of your characters.
Ooh,
That's perfect,
you.
and then we can
That's-
all drink them. That'd be
I
great.
come up and visit you and drink
That-
them.
that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would be fun. And according
cool.
to an esteemed member of our chat, Kisogo here is an avid fan of the horror genre of video games. So feel free to visit his chat and spend points in his chat to make him play horror games. He hates them. He hates them so
loves them.
much.
He
Don't
loves
do
them.
that.
Also, he loves rage games and platformers.
No, I fucking don't.
No, he doesn't.
I become a different person, man. This is why I only play narrative and story games, because if I play competitive games, I become a super toxic person. Any shooter,
I understand that
any
mentality.
platformer, it's absurd.
If I have to rely on anything other than AI, nope.
You
I
should
have a
see how
killer
our,
in,
how our
DVD.
Back for Blood games go. There's a lot of.
Oh yes, we need to play that, dude.
We need a
Vampires and Zombies.
us
It can
together
happen.
for DVD.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
fun. That would be
We
fun.
could
We
play
have.
I only play killer.
That's not true. You can wait for
You could spectate. It'd be fun.
I prefer playing killer.
It's because he does. Oh no, it's fun. It's everybody has our own fun quirks. But then again, speaking of monsters and stuff, we're here for a vampire game, and we're going to talk a bit about monsters. And
Yeah.
some of us are going to play some of them. Some of us are very comfortable with the monster. That they are. If I can point to there. Some of us are still learning a bit about the monster, but in our previous game,
Oh.
we had gotten to a point where the newest kindred in town, poor a girl named Mercy, had been turned, doesn't know how exactly, doesn't know who.
Why is my audio all desynced?
You look fine on my end.
No, it's desynced in the Discord now too.
You look fine on my end. It might just be on yours. But that's okay. So, before we get into the beginning of our little game, I have a small paragraph that I had written in which to get us in the mood here. So, if you've
working.
been with us for the 2 episodes so far, thanks for coming back. If not, well, let's catch you up. So tonight's episode is called Recognition. As we have discovered, the life of a vampire is far from easy. Transition's the worst. How do you deal with the fact that you are legally and literally have died? If your corpse was never identified, do you try to keep in contact with your friends? Your parents? How do you explain to your job that you can't work during the daylight hours? Or do you try to cut contact with them entirely? It's a difficult line to walk. To preserve the masquerade, all kindred must ensure that no mortals know that vampires exist. However, for a kindred to preserve their humanity and sanity, they must keep at least some people around to ground themselves. Otherwise, that's a long, slow decline into an unlife with little else other than hunger and the beast. The transition's hard. The human side of it, dealing with parents, friends, and the job is, as expected, rough. The other side, the supernatural side, is no less difficult to walk in. Just as you discover that you've attained immortality, terrifying hunger, and powers beyond mortal means, you also learn that there are others who have all of those things and have been doing it for much longer than you and are better at it and have territory and rules that you must learn. All the new information isn't any easier to swallow when many of the punishments for violation of such rules are just final death. Now, the first step for a new kindred, is recognition. Being recognized by their kind, the ruling body of the area, and being accepted into the ruling body's territory. And most importantly, recognizing for themselves the truth of what they've become. Is it something that they could live with? Is it something that you can adapt to? Mercy's not the only kindred this evening preparing for recognition. James and Roland must also be recognized this evening by Prince Kevin Jackson of Chicago.
It's Kevin.
And if this meeting goes wrong, well, it can go very, very wrong. So, as we open up tonight's story, I feel that it would only be appropriate to begin with the one of you that didn't need to actually crash out and fall into a supernatural sleep by the point that the sun came over the sky. 6. You managed to go home and you managed to get some sleep. A little. And you had a lot on your hands. Did a lot of research. Dealt with the covers, dealt with the things that your employer asks of you. School's life isn't easy. Now, after you finished, all of you were behind the scenes scheming, and the sun starts to head down. How would you be preparing yourself for, well, the little bit of duty that can be done before you drop the kids off at class, as it were?
Pretty much gonna gather all the evidence I had been collecting throughout the day, including a videotape in a manila envelope. Bring it back to Maggie's club.
Okay.
And then I pretty much change for, as appropriate, to drive you guys to meet the prince.
Simple, but you got a lot of stuff done. So this will be the first time that in this game some of our vampires have actually risen for the night. So, you know what? Between the two newer vampires to town, let's see, either James or Roland. It's always either James or Roland. Let's see what happens. Roland! The sun finally comes down, and the supernatural hold it has over you finally breaks. When you raise up for the night, the very first thing I'll ask you to do is make a rouse check, because every vampire needs to make one every time they wake up. It's the reason they have to keep feeding, because every once in a while you might fail one of those checks and get hungrier, and vampires gotta eat. But while you're rolling that, and you succeed. So whatever your hunger was at previously, you do not gain any more. When you wake up, what's that like? What's your what is your evening routine, as it were?
Well, tonight is a different evening than most nights.
Mm-hmm.
So, Roland rises. He draws the shutters back from the windows that he has bolted. Looks out upon the city he has now chosen to make his home at. Thinking about the information that he has acquired most recently and how to properly dilute it. He putting that to the back of his mind for now, as he has no real allies in the city as of yet. He just prepares himself for the meeting tonight. Gets himself dressed similar to what I'm wearing. But once he's done, he promptly takes out his cell phone and posts a selfie pic and posts it to his Instagram for his many followers.
Every square down there showed disapproval, and it pleases me greatly. Every one of them.
Obviously, with his face, before he posted, he blocks his face so that no one knows what he actually looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Going out for a night on the town. # living the life.
Well, shit. What's your haven like? Where is it that you're rising from to go out and, I assume, head to the Nova Club?
Yeah, well, it's a modest 2-story house that he's acquired. Not really ostentatious, as counterproductive to the image he puts out. But in the basement, there is a massive setup of computers with bandwidth and monitor screens everywhere, T1 lines, and everything that you could possibly imagine in the basement to solidify his other desires, as it were.
Nice. Very nice. And I take it since you do not have to worry about hunger tonight, you get up and prepare yourself and head out?
Yes.
Well, that makes the next choice very easy. So, James,
Yes.
same question. First off, I would like you to roll me a rouse check upon waking, which will be the top left of the character sheet. Just one die, no bonuses. And while we're doing that, I will ask how your evening in Haven is going. You also succeed, so you do not get any hungrier. Your beast is not raging this evening. It's not unruly.
Okay, well, I don't have time to think about that because I wake up in a start and with my 1911 in my hand, I'm pointing everywhere.
And where are you?
So my haven is located in a container shipping yard. I actually live in one of the containers out in the shipping yard.
It's very tactically sound.
So my character wakes up, freaks out, pointing my gun everywhere until I'm sure that I haven't been kidnapped or somebody's around me. And so I slide my slide that back underneath my my pillow. I pick up my carry 1911 and I check it real quick. I go through the whole process of taking it apart, cleaning the weapon. I do the same thing with the other weapons I have, including like my knives and my M16A1 that I have as well.
Yep, not even a little surprised that you would have that. And knowing James, I assume that once your preparations are complete, you are perhaps begrudgingly going to the same place that Roland is.
Yeah, I only go there at the appointed time I'm supposed to be there.
Okay.
I go there a little bit early, case the place out, and take note of all the entrances I can see, as well as I will spend some time like assessing the security of the place as well.
So this is still the Nova Club that you've been to before. You're meeting up there to head together.
I still do it.
That's fair. Important point of clarity. You have considerable arsenal that you have secured for yourself.
Yeah.
Are you bringing any tonight? And if so, what are you packing?
I am just carrying my 1911 and a couple extra mags. I subscribe to the belief, the like very, very supernatural belief that supernatural creatures are hurt by silver, so I carry a mag with regular bullets as well as silver bullets.
Not necessarily a shitty idea in this town.
That's just what my character would do. I also like carry two knives as well. They're both like kind of like stiletto style knives, so long and thin blades that are easily concealable. One is silver and one is just a steel knife as well.
And I assume you are not dressing up for court in any capacity. No.
I am dressed up.
No,
I'm not dressed up.
As in wearing clothing.
I'm wearing clothes. I wore my good shoes, the ones that have the least amount of mud on them.
And what more can we ask for, really?
Everything.
Says the Torianer.
Class.
Yeah.
So, converging on Club Nova are James and Rowan. But at Club Nova, two of our group is already there, having spent the night there. I spent the day there. Pardon me. We're talking about vampires here. And so Mercy and Magdalena, I will ask both of you to make a rouse check to see if you are going to be increasing in hunger before the night's festivities. Maggie's real good. You got that in the bag. Mercy. Ooh.
Of course.
Of course. It's
of course.
The rolls hate you and love you.
They do.
So when you wake up this evening, Maggie, you fine. You know your drill. I'm going to ask you in a second. The previous evening, you had reached a point where your hunger was remarkably and comfortably sated. It took the loss of a human life to do it, but you were good. And now it rumbles back up. That itch and that thing that you feel in a little bit in your gut and a little bit in the back of your mind. I could eat. It's there. It's not to a point where it would disrupt you at all yet. It's actually very controllable right now. But from what people have told you so far, you mark it. And you at least know that, oh, this is that thing. Okay. So you gain 1 hunger from what you had before. I believe you were at hunger 0 before, so now you're going to be at hunger 1. And you just woke up in a strange place. What's that like?
Yeah. So, Mercy wakes up hungry. Not an unusual occurrence for her, but it's kind of a different healing than usual. And presumably, she essentially passed out at the table. Is that correct?
Yeah, you were in the chair when the sun came up. And you were in the
Right.
exact same position. Exact. You haven't moved an inch.
Is she feeling the effects of sleeping in a chair, or is that not a thing for vampire?
That is a pretty good question. Normally it'd be a very uncomfortable experience. You would have been sore. You would have achy, like, oh, you need to pop everything to get it all sorted out. And no, not really. And once
I
again,
have really comfortable chairs as well.
once again, you have to suddenly remember that, oh shit, I don't have to breathe if I don't want to. And it feels like a lot of the muscle things that you had to deal with before, it's not functioning as it was before. Simple things like getting tired, not really a thing for you. It's basic soreness and like mild discomforts. It's all this weird, dull nothingness that you normally would feel when you're just like at the top of your game. But your body is cold, but you don't feel. Like if you touch your arm, you can detect that you are cold, but you don't feel like it's cold in here. Temperature isn't really that noticeable either.
So she wakes sort of with a start, not quite scared, but more unsettled by this feeling as she kind of snaps awake. There's not really grogginess. There's not really anything except this hunger that she's feeling, and even that is mild compared to the kind of shock of missing all of those things. And she looks around, seeing the room remains vaguely unchanged. She's still sitting in the seat where she fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But the others are not there. And so she's kind of glancing around, trying to place where people are, who's in the room with her, because God, can you imagine falling asleep in a room and not knowing what's there when you wake up? She's glancing around, trying to figure out who's there, see if there's anything that's changed in the room as far as the table settings, the people, the open door, and nervous. It's not so much fear so much as like insecurity in the moment of safety.
Fair. And to answer that question of has anything in the room changed? Is there anyone in there, or is that door even shut? I guess we will turn to Maggie. Has anything changed in that room after she went to sleep? Because you had the ability to stay up just a little bit longer than she did.
So, as you do awake, you'll notice that you are alone in the room. The door has been closed and sealed. Magdalena will awake from her non-disclosed location.
Yep.
And return. You will hear a small, keypad beep on the outside of the door before it opens, and Magdalena is standing there. And she will look at you and say, "How did you sleep, dear? You seem to crash pretty rapidly, though that is pretty common for new Kindred."
And she'll kind of turn as she hears the noise, of course, and be greeted with Maggie in all of her glory. I don't know that I slept well, but I don't feel bad. It's just the next night. It's only been a day. How? This is so strange.
You'll get used to it.
Thanks.
The important thing is, how hungry do you feel this morning? or evening.
And she'll look a little like she'll kind of look down and be like, like remember we've had some rough times with our PR and with our politeness among new company. But she'll say, well, if I were being very picky, I'd say I was a little hungry. But it doesn't really feel the way I'm familiar with. Perhaps it's more of a thirst, a craving.
Well, yes, when I refer to hunger, I do refer to your beast's thirst. Most importantly, though, do you feel like you're on the brink of losing control of yourself and attacking the first blood bag that walks through the door? Or do you think you can remain presentable for the court?
Your voice in the sky. That'd be a solid no, given my current hunger. Is that correct?
Correct. You are definitely feeling in control of yourself. You are really kind of, if we had to equate it to human feelings, you are at that really. I don't know if I'm actually really hungry yet, but I could definitely eat if I needed to.
I could go
It's
for
fine.
some pizza.
Yeah. That's
Like
very
everybody
much
has
Just a
room for
slice.
like
Just a
sweet.
slice.
Yes. Okay. She'll kind of take a moment to like assess herself. This is all very new to her. She doesn't really know, and she'll sit with that thought for just a second or two and be like, "No, I think I'm fine. It's totally manageable."
Wonderful. Well, on that note, we do have some time before we need to be at court, and you are, well, you're in need of a change. So take off those clothes, and through the door there in the back, you'll find a wardrobe with, you look a similar size to myself, but you should be able to find something that will fit you and suit you. And I will preface it by saying something very formal would be in your best interest.
What is Maggie wearing?
good question.
Maggie is wearing probably the nicest dark purple dress
purple.
that you've ever seen. It's very deep purple with a lot of black accents and lace and things. Just glancing at it, you could probably tell that it cost about as much as probably
Walter.
Roland's house. Yeah.
You don't know how much my house costs.
That's the thing, though.
Doesn't she?
It's very lavish. She has tights on and very nice shoes, not heels or anything. Maggie doesn't really wear heels per se, but with a little bit of a lift to them, and she's just very, very presentable, regal almost.
I'm sorry. Did you mention how long this dress was?
It goes a little past the knee.
Okay. Great. So, Mercy, a little less likely to strip directly in front of a stranger, will...
Oh, feel free, dear. I've literally seen everything.
We'll sort of like tilt her head in gratitude and say, thank you. Through here, and she'll kind of gesture as she moves in that direction. Going to find some clothing.
You're here.
Yep. You're getting good with this. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, this is great. And she'll duck in, seeking out something. She's very good at this. Clothing for a specific situation. It's kind of what she does. But she's not really good at this whole vampire thing. So, can she find anything that's kind of sunshiny yellow?
That's a great question.
Not in Maggie's wardrobe. No, it's darker tones,
I'd be surprised if
cooler
it was.
colors.
Sunshine
you-
yellow.
The closest that you would probably find is there are definitely some crimsons and some lighter reds that you could find.
Green, like leafy.
There would be
or
some
grassy.
emerald greens. Yep, there would definitely be that. Yeah, not yellow. That's not
No.
really a Maggie color.
That's not really a vampire color, to be fair.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Have you met Mercy? Please.
On-
She also
only-
wore
only
pastels.
He's making it a
Where she
vampire color.
pissed off a bunch of people.
well,
She's really good at that. Okay,
Yeah.
so Mercy will emerge, and Maggie, if any of this goes too far out of wardrobe, you let me know. Mercy will emerge in a floor-length skirt with a knee slit, not quite fitted all the way down, but just a kind of loose line dress. It's emerald green. It has some cream-colored accents, maybe a little bit of lace or at the waist. It's got a high collar and a blazer over top. White? Navy?
You could maybe find something from my previous childer in there that would fit that description. So we'll go with
probably.
okay.
Probably.
Okay, alright. We'll call it a stretch, but then a few extra moments taken to really dig for something appropriate. Why is all this stuff so dark?
It's a lot too. There's outfits too that aren't her size that she's just bought because she can. A lot of that. So
Okay.
Don't drop clan symbols in the chat like I won't notice, you jerk.
Dixon's asking. Dixon's asking.
But
I didn't answer any questions. I just responded to exactly what he said. In that order. Anyways, so while Magdalena finally has a hold of another potential childer and has a minute to play dress up, something she hasn't been able to do for a while, that would be around the time where both Roland and James would make it to the club. I'll switch us over to the club scene here.
Put on some Oonstuns music there.
A little bit.
Not that kind of club? No, whatever.
Wrong kind of club. Although, let me tell you, those exist, and I know right where they are. Some of these other players know that too. So, you guys make it to Nova. The security knows you from the previous evening. Thus, you don't have any trouble getting through whatsoever. As I keep all this stuff active here. So you have a pretty easy time making your way in. Will greets you once more. And it's not hard to get into the back where everyone else is. As I try to find Nova's music that goes on the quiet. There it is. That's the right ambiance.
So, as Magdalena is helping Mercy pick out an outfit, she's going to reach down and touch the button and contact Valerie up at the bar
Okay.
and say, dear, when you get a moment, I know that you're probably quite busy this evening. Could you let me know when tonight's musical act gets in? I'd like to greet them personally.
Ah, yes, Mom. Absolutely. And goes in, ruffles through a few pieces of paper, and then pokes at a little pad on the desk. And says, shouldn't be but a few more minutes. I'll let you know.
Wonderful, dear. Thank you.
And around the time since you have walked out to the main club area, as I will once again. We're not in the back room. As once again, you see both of your guests that you knew would be here arrive. So Roland and James are both there, and you catch eyes on them. Unless they're trying to be very sneaky.
I'm just far away from him as much as
Well, hello, you two. Did you sleep well?
I give like a huff.
I'm going to assume that that's your best way of saying yes.
Wasn't terrible.
I have my hands in my pockets. They're definitely not on my weapons in any capacity.
Well, I do hope that you're prepared, because this night is just as important for you as it is for our dear Mercy downstairs. Are either of you hungry?
No.
I shake my head.
Wonderful. That makes things quite easy for me.
Around
I
this time,
will,
6 does make it to the place as well.
Oh,
So-
hello, dear.
Good evening.
I trust you had a good evening yourself.
I just want to let the record show that I'm at least 8 feet away from Roland. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Class doesn't rub off, James.
The more pictures he takes of himself, the more steps I take away from him.
Actually, Mr. Kessler, I have a small request. One moment. Will,
It's social distancing, yes, Dixon. I'm social distancing because Roland is afflicted by stupidity.
Ooh, this is gonna be great.
I love it here.
Me too.
do I see Will?
Will is present, and he appears to have been just kind of hanging out towards the back wall round about the time that James started putting his hands in his pockets.
Yes.
My hands have been in my pockets.
Mr. Kessler here will be requiring that article of clothing I asked you to bring in today. I took the liberty of having Will get you a suit for court this evening to improve your chances.
I look down at my tattered jeans
fantastic.
and my kind of like moth-eaten sweater and my hoodie jacket and my hoodie, oversized hoodie, and I'm like, my clothes are fine.
No, they're not.
These are my best clothes.
I understand that, and that's why they're not okay.
They are not anymore, sir. And you see, almost akin to like a very Alfred-like butler. You thought he had his hand behind him, because what else would it be for except to put like to ready a pistol or some sort? But he brings it back around, and he's got a plastic bag draped over with what looks like quite an expensive suit that looks like it has measurements written on the side of the tag.
I've gotten quite good at guessing them.
I narrow my eyes at Will and his package. Wait, that sounds weird.
It does.
And the clothes he's carrying, and I say to Magdalena, is like, with all due respect, I don't want to be who I'm not. And I don't
understand.
think I should present myself to the prince as somebody I'm not.
Well, I do appreciate that, and honesty is definitely the way to go this evening. However, at least for when we arrive, I'm in charge of you, and I won't have you go like that. So you can bring your
Hold on.
clothes to change.
Hold on.
I would like to say that I'm on James' side, that he should dress how he wants to and how he wants to present himself. No offense.
I
Will
slowly
just stands
turn
there
and
like-
look at Roland.
Does it make
What?
him want to wear the suit though?
What?
That's a good thing. That's a good question. Does it make him
Reverse
want to wear the
psychology?
suit? Could
If
he
it's any
possibly agree with Roland?
consolation, dear, you'll look better than he does. And I'll gesture at Roland.
All right, hold on. I have to check.
Do we
I have to
leave
check
this to a
something.
dice?
I have to check something.
This is fantastic.
Uh,
I love this
I
plan.
would like to have you roll a persuasion check on me, and I will roll something to go against that.
Okay, here's how this is gonna go. This is going to be. I'll consider. We're doing this. We're doing this. I'm gonna consider this to be
Mental
a
comment.
moderate difficulty. Thus,
Social combat.
you are looking for 3 successes, and you are going to give a roll as I crack open a character sheet so I can remember what the skills and stats and whatnot are. You are going to give me a roll of appropriate would be persuasion and charisma.
I'm,
All right. So what am I rolling?
This is going to be against a difficulty of just a solid 3. James, you do not need
Okay,
to
so I'm
roll
not rolling
anything.
anything.
Roland, let's see if you can get 3.
What, Roland? All right.
Ooh.
Yep.
What am I rolling?
You are
Sorry, I
rolling.
thought-
No, you are rolling persuasion and charisma.
No, Magdalena is, or
I
Roland
thought-
is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who-
Yeah,
who's-
Nope.
No. Okay.
I see what you're trying to do there too, and that's not okay. What are you actively trying to do? A blood surge? Will you? Because if you do, then
I was going to increase something, but
well, amusingly enough, Roland did get exactly 3 successes, which was the requirement. So you're not like blown away, but you're like, no, he kind of has a little bit of a point there. Shit.
well, Mr. Kessler, I was going to wait until you had the suit on, but I thought it would also. It has sewn in holsters for your weapons.
I'd say what weapons?
The ones that you always carry. Do you think that Will is just a pretty face?
He smiles
finger. I don't know where I
exactly like he's just a pretty face.
I need to roll something. Sorry.
What are you
Oh,
trying
because-
to?
No. I'm not rolling anything against. I just want
Okay.
to roll something for my edification to see if I feel that. I don't know if Magdalena is doing this to upset me or not.
That's
Or
actually
if-
That's
or to embarrass me and to make me uncomfortable or make me do something in front of the prince I'm going to regret, because I'm
Okay.
super uncomfortable with the idea of wearing anything but
so
what I'm
that's
wearing.
that's actually very fair. So what I
Okay.
will ask you to roll, James, is you would roll insight, the skill of
Okay.
insight, and pair it with wits.
All right, here we go.
So that's 3 successes. Not messy, nothing like that. I assume that truthfully, Maggie is not attempting to embarrass him. Is she?
Not at all.
She's playing straight this time?
In fact, there is a reason that Magdalena is trying to dress up the Malkavian for court.
Okay, so I'm gonna narrow my eyes at you and say, why do you want to do this? Why should I change? Why should I change who I am when I present myself to the prince?
It's not a matter of changing who you are, per se. There's been some issue with your clan recently, and I was trying to give you the benefit of at least not signaling the prince that you could be an issue.
That
I
has
like
nothing to
you.
do with me.
And I would like you to stay. This is true,
You
but,
like me?
well, of the two of you,
No,
yes, you're my
nobody
favorite.
likes me.
The thing
Wrong,
is,
I like you.
Mercy likes him.
the prince, I'm not sure if
You
you're
don't have to
aware,
give me that look.
Actually,
the
do
prince
I
is
look at him when I turn this way? No, I have to look this way. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna look this way.
Fine.
the prince is of the same clan as myself. And while I know that I come off with all of the gravitas of the Ventru that you've all known, it's possible that Prince Jackson may hold some of the Ventru tenants more closely than I do. And I like to give all potential kindred in the city a fighting chance. And you were
Fine.
not the only one that I intended to single out. I apologize if I've given you that thought.
Fine, let's just get this over with. The
Without,
sooner this is over, the better.
without like shoving it in your face, Will walks just barely within arm's range of you
Okay.
and
I kind of
holds
like
out
lean
the
back.
thing. Holds out the thing for you to take, so that he is physically as far away as he can be, whilst handing you the suit.
I take it from him suspiciously.
He does
I,
not.
take it, I barely touch where he was touching because I believe that if they were going to do anything, they might have touched like the stuff or coated poison
It's
on,
in like
on the plastic. I don't know.
Yeah. No poison seems to touch you, and Will only keeps his arm up as long as it is still suspended by his arm, and as soon as you actually take it, he lowers his arm and steps away.
I keep it at like arm's length away from me.
Thank you, Will. There's private rooms, restrooms. You're free to change wherever you would like. You could change right here if you must. There's no patrons in here as of this moment.
Oh, there's no patience. Fantastic.
I leave.
I'm gonna
I
go
leave
up to the
without turning
stage.
my back.
Oh,
I leave
no.
without turning my back to the rest of these guys.
I'm gonna start
Don't
playing the-
you
I'm just
dare
gonna
go
start
on
playing
my
the
stage.
piano.
No. No. No.
Oh, yes.
This is bad.
Oh boy.
How do you roll a frenzy check now?
there is a thing for that. So basically, you would be rolling willpower, but we're not doing frenzy checks right now.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we ain't doing that yet. That might happen later, and I'll have to refresh myself on how to do such things. But now, thankfully, we're pretty good.
I told you I was a musician, right?
You did mention that you were a musician.
Fairly good.
I'll grant that you're not terrible. Speaking of, Valerie, is our act in yet? I'm really
She is
eager.
kind of behind the desk, like, very much not wanting to interrupt whatever the hell this is going on in here right now. Like,
I feel like she's
yes,
at this
she just
point
came in.
pretty
She's
able to ignore.
She's in room 5.
Oh, wonderful, dear. Excuse me, everyone. I'll be back in just a moment.
And so the teacher leaves the classroom, and everything explodes.
Real quick, Magdalena, can you tell me what clothes I have?
Yep, please do.
Oh,
When he comes
just
out, what will he be dressed in?
he will be dressed in a very fine, like a charcoal gray suit, with really nice black accents and visible stitching. Very kind of mobstery, like 1920s Chicago mobstery style. Not pinstriped, but basically that without it.
That face.
By the way, beautiful. That's a beautiful suit. Thank you. But
Yes.
Fantastic.
it wasn't tie.
I'm sorry?
Is there a tie?
It's a little bow tie.
The look on his face when he said that.
It's a little crimson bow tie, even.
Oh God!
I'm going to change the name of the episode now.
Extreme Makeover Kessler Edition. Let's go.
Oh dear.
How to give your PTSD vet more PTSD.
Oh dear.
Okay. Cool.
So
Sorry.
Maggie has
Just let-
left the room. I assume James has gone off to change.
I did.
He'll eventually
I'm
come
looking
back.
at the suit. I'm looking at the suit, and I have very strong opinions on my face.
Does Mercy appear having changed at some point, or is she like lurking and
vague
watching all
message.
this bullshit?
I sent a vague message to our resident closet owner.
Oh. I'm sorry, I never look at this phone.
I can't, you guys. Why are you like this?
We're exactly.
Wait, did you say there was a hat too?
Oh my god! Please let
Oh,
the bring
please
it
tell
up.
me
It's a
that.
fedora.
Is it-
There's like a trilby hat. Yeah.
Oh,
Fantastic.
With a very small peacock feather in it.
Welcome to Chicago.
Great.
Okay. Oh, now I know you're fucking with me. All right, here we go. Now I know. Now I fucking know.
Okay. So Mercy does emerge.
Okay.
She is, like I said, wearing a floor-length emerald dress. It's got a slit up the leg. All of her high neckline and the small slit is paired with some cream lace for an accent, and over top she's wearing a very vibrant navy blazer. It falls somewhere between very fancy and kind of businessy. And she kind of not quite sweeps in because she's not really sure of herself enough to do such a thing. But she's very aware of where the only people in the club she knows are, and approaches them slowly, leaving some room for her. Or James is gone, is that correct? So just
Yes.
Yeah.
approaches carefully. You know, doing her best to look presentable.
Several are there. Roland is there, probably eyeing the stage. And if I'm reading this correctly, Six is there and setting something up too.
Six has left and she's heading back down to the meeting room.
Mhm.
It's me and Mercy. Fantastic.
Yup.
Well, Mercy. The first one was your name. The second one was how you look. Looks nice.
Smooth.
Quite, yes, quite flattered. Mercy will look down at her clothing and go, you know, I definitely owe it to a well-stocked closet, although I was really hoping for yellow. I'm glad it looks okay.
So cool.
I don't
I knew
really
it.
know.
I knew it.
Anyway,
I don't really know what one wears to find out whether or not they should die, but I thought I should at least look okay.
100%. I do have one small bit of information for you.
Oh?
If we happen to run into... Do you remember last night when we mentioned the name Ballard?
Yes.
I would stay away from that man if I were you.
That seems vaguely
It's
Right.
vague intention. Not...
not
I
from you,
don't-
but
I don't have more information, but I would caution you away from the man.
lowering her voice and stepping closer, she will. Lowering her voice and stepping closer, she'll say, "Does this perhaps have anything to do with the explosion?"
Not at liberty to divulge information that I don't have all of it yet. But so I just say he's not someone that you should be anywhere near at this point in time.
And what does this gentleman look like?
Sir, you got a name. That's it.
Yeah. Magdalena knows him. I'm sure she will inevitably look him at court if he's there, because he lost his business last night. And remember, she was sending him flowers.
Yes, I remember. That chuckle was definitely in character as the inevitable mention of Maggie's kindness comes up. But yes, she'll go, oh, right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
A quick question, Magdalena. Did you include shoes with that?
Yep.
Fantastic.
No,
And little cufflinks with an M on them.
that's not happening either.
Ooh.
Um.
Toreadors, look out! She's gonna come out with a new fashion line.
Okay, so I'm ready to. I come out of the bathroom, and I don't have the bow tie on. I'm wearing my boots still. They're my black combat boots, and I have my shirt rolled over the sleeves of my jacket and pushed up on my arms. I have the rest of the stuff, like I have like the shoes and the my clothes, but my clothes are like I've tucked under my arm, and I'm holding the shoes like very disdainfully with 2 fingers as I walk out of the bathroom.
James, as comfortable as you can be in that.
I kind of like shoot him a dirty look and ignore him.
Wow. Sorry for trying to make conversation. God. Tell you.
Mercy will simply give him a very long look up and down, not in any way with distaste, just sort of recognizing that he's not too happy with her and that she should probably do better. She has no comment.
Yeah, she better. She better have no comment.
Friend of yours?
I am just actively ignoring her until she does something to piss me off. Which, let's be
That's
perfectly
fair.
honest, if she
Won't
opens her
take long.
mouth, she'll piss me off.
That's fair.
It's fair.
So I'm at disdain, you're lower than me? Pooh.
Yeah, I actually make sure that I'm further away from her than I am from him.
Ooh, my.
There's stuff going on here.
Anyways, so Magdalena's not here, right?
No.
Correct.
Speaking of which,
stepped
are you
away for a
doing?
moment.
Are you doing what I think you're doing right now, Magdalena?
I'm greeting my musician with a kiss. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What's your hunger level at?
It is currently at 2. I'm
Well-
looking to get it down just to 1.
That is exactly what happens as you have purchased the herd. You don't need to make any rolls, so boom, you got it. You're down to 1. Maggie's got her shit down.
I hand the shoes and the whatever's left of the bag to Will.
He takes it, and it doesn't look like it bothers him at all. He's very, he's got a very strong Alfred vibe to him, and he just takes it and immediately takes it off to wherever that bag and the clothes belongs. Once
I have
again,
the bow tie. I have the bow tie in my inside pocket. It could be useful as a tourniquet. I don't know.
That's about right. So Maggie will eventually return.
As I return, I'll look to Valerie behind the bar and say, please send down some orange juice and cookies for our guests. I seem to have worn her out.
Oh my.
Mhm. Yeah.
She
my.
just nods and goes off to do it.
Well, Mr. Kessler, that's very presentable of you. Thank you for indulging me. I
I look very annoyed.
promise that I'll make it up to you at some point.
Oh
Mercy,
my.
very lovely. Excellent choice of gown. And, yep, Roland. Anyway, let's,
Yes, of course. Yeah. No.
Fuck.
if everyone is here and ready, Six, will you be attending court with us this evening? Or is, does, pardon me, I'm a bit lightheaded from my from my snack. Does Giovanni have other plans for you this evening?
As far as I'm aware, he does not. Unfortunately, I will not be attending court, as I don't exactly have the status that the rest of his little group has. So, I guess I'll be keeping watch on the car.
Trust me, dear, you're not missing very much. In this town, anyway.
From what I hear, you're probably right.
I'm sure Tony has informed you of every important detail that you would need to know.
Him and my cousin.
Speaking of interesting information, before we depart, did anyone gain any more news on what transpired last evening?
Mercy looks pointedly around, optimistic for learning anything.
Six removes a envelope from like the inside pocket of her jacket and holds it up. I actually got footage from the cafe.
Well, that is wonderful. By footage, what do you mean exactly?
The before, during, and after. This one walked in.
Oh, so she's the instigator.
You will have to see for yourself.
Sad.
It's not pretty.
Storyteller, how much time do we have before we need to leave for court?
Not a great amount of time. You couldn't sit about and lollygag for a long time, but enough time to see something like this. Yeah, you would probably have, I want to say,
Well,
hour or two before you need to be there. Drive time. You could probably do stuff.
Six did bring a laptop case with her, so if need be, they could watch the footage on the way to the prince's
That's true.
location.
That is true. As I review my notes.
Well, as there's no reason for any of us to hang around here, and punctuality is often looked well upon, I feel that that's a good option, Six. I think we could watch it in the vehicle if that's all right with everyone else.
We have a choice. I mean,
Now you're learning. That's very good. To the
you've ordered
vehicle.
us around every other time.
I've never
Mercy.
ordered you at all. I've merely suggested what you do. You've just been smart enough to take my suggestions.
Mercy will clear her throat, interrupting, and go, I think, quite like to see such footage. If we could go quickly?
I point
would
to Ziggly,
be
ignore her.
it would be beneficial to at least have a bit of information going into court, as it will definitely come up.
The gaps in my memory are quite many, and I don't particularly enjoy such.
Well, on that wonderful note, I say to the car.
To the car. Well,
Mercy will wait just for a moment, hesitating to see, since she's standing beside Roland, if he pulls off any showmanship, fancy, gentlemanly behaviors.
ooh.
No.
Yes. No.
No.
No, not right now.
No.
Wait, where are we going? I wasn't paying attention
Court.
to anything any of them were saying.
Court. Going to court.
Okay, I wait to get into the vehicle so I know where the rest of them are sitting.
Well, 6, as per usual, is the driver. Magdalena, as per usual, will be the front passenger seat. And you got an SUV.
Mercy
Okay,
will.
in that case, I barge toward the front and I get in the back. And I like sit in the back and I just try to take up as much of the back seat as I can across my
Remember, this. I think this was a 3-tiered SUV the last time.
Yep.
Yeah,
there
that
are
is.
several.
That's why I went to the back seat.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll sit in the middle. It's fine.
In hopes of being able to see the video, presumably Maggie is going to watch. Mercy will attempt to take the driver's side, second row seat.
Okay.
It's fine.
You guys get everything set up. You go to prepare yourself to go. This is one of the other, like, the SUVs that have been prepared for this point by Stibbons and everything. 6 jumps in, starts up the car, and then out of nowhere, as the car starts, boom.
What the fuck is that, and why is it playing?
I slowly start pulling out my fucking gun.
Can I get one of those? Who's playing the yelling?
The radio is on.
What's with the polka?
I assume somebody goes to turn this off.
Yes.
I
Okay.
slowly putting the weapon to my head.
Oh,
And now,
God.
someone on the internet who was in season 1 is very pleased. There you go.
Magdalena has this, 1,000-yard stare, and she goes... She takes out her phone, and she calls Will, and she says, if you happen to see Freddy in the area, please shoot him in the fucking face for me.
Sorry.
100%.
Absolutely,
And,
Mum.
Oh my
Also
God.
on that note, if I and she hangs up the phone. She's very visibly, slightly
Oh my
shaken and annoyed.
God. That is hilarious.
Freddy, I hope that you are very happy with how this event. Anyways. So,
Mr. Kessler, I will let you know that that suit was made specifically for you, and I didn't even use my old friend Freddy's contact, Hugo Boss. So there's that.
We're just name dropping now? Is that what we're doing?
Well, his friend used to make certain uniforms for certain people, and we won't get into that.
season 1 was a riot, let me tell you. A lot of pranks going around, but approaching a more, if it's possible to get into a more serious sense after that fucking shitstorm hit everybody. Not even in my game anymore, and they're already derailing the shit.
Look, it's not a it's not a tabletop role playing game if you're not fucking derailing the fucking GM right now.
Absolutely.
So, let's be honest.
But you
Or
guys
derailing the party in general.
do
right?
pull out onto the road, and you are en route to court. Now, two of you, one of which being the driver, knows where court is, but for now you are just on the streets of Chicago. So how are you showing people this video whilst we do this? Are you just like passing the laptop back or something?
No, we can. I can connect my laptop to that laptop, and we don't have to strain necks.
Technical magic.
Okay.
Science.
Technical magic.
Mercy just planned to peek over Maggie's shoulder, but if that's an option, then...
So, Magdalena, you witness some technological arcane weirdness going on as Roland does very basic USB connections.
I don't know or care what that is for.
I'm allowing us so that we're not calling each other so we can see the video.
I don't care. I just want to watch the thing.
Oh, you want us to call over you?
No, if you touch me,
well.
I'll stab you. If, you know, as long as I can watch
That
this
was not
moving
bad.
picture, I don't mind.
So, in Maggie's lap is Six's laptop while she drives. And the cord goes right back to Roland's laptop so you guys can see everything in real time. And
What button do I push?
That one.
I'm not talking to you. 6? Is it the enter? Is that the button? Or the
Six
large...
reaches-
The button at the
reaches
bottom?
over-
The long
I'm
one?
not talking to you, idiot.
It's a touch screen, ma'am.
What's a... Okay. I don't know what that means either, but I also...
She reaches
My
over.
fingers don't work on touch screens, I don't believe.
So smacking it with your palm of your hands.
it's like a cat.
Six hits play on the video.
and managing to avoid watching a ghoul have an aneurysm. Never thought that'd be something I say in my game, but fucking figure.
That's a
Roland's
brand new
pretty
sentence
close.
for everyone.
We got you covered.
Yeah, you guys do. Thank you. You see the video begin to play, and all the levity that has kind of like been building this whole time, and the little bits of like shit talking and camaraderie that you're building dips a hair.
Is that what we're calling camaraderie?
Yeah, I
Could
wasn't
be.
calling. It's everybody's trying to shit on Roland. That's all I hear.
Mercy's trying to flirt, but you know, he just let her down.
At any rate, what you see on the screen is security footage. And it's security footage of a very familiar diner. And the timestamp has gone to... Looks like after close, there are two people walking around and cleaning. Finishing up for the night. They kind of have a little bit of sagged shoulders. Looks like it was a long, tough day. But it's over. And then, about 8 seconds into the video, the front door is kicked down. Not all the way down. Kicked so that the door slams open, smashes against the far wall, and a barely recognizable Mercy, but it's definitely Mercy. It's the same big thick hair, but it's just fucking everywhere. Like, there was no care towards her appearance at all. Already a little covered in blood. There's no moment of conversation. There's no moment of realization of who or what these people are. She enters the room, charges, and lunges at one of them. And he falls over the case, and there's blood going everywhere. And the scene continues with Mercy literally watching herself murder two people.
Question.
Basically in cold blood. It's a scene from a horror movie, but the horror movie monster looks like you. And it is very disconcerting. And you see how every unfortunate blood splatter that you saw when you woke up got where it got. play-by-play.
Okay, now I'm going to do something. I'm going to put my hand on top of Mercy's and just squeeze. Gently.
Okay, question prior to this action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Mercy's vague hunger react to seeing this? Is there
Ooh.
a moment of beast reaction here?
Fuck me.
As you watch a video on a screen, no.
Oh.
It's weird. It's almost clinical. You can kind of feel that beast is present. It exists. But you also get the sense that it's not interested in entertainment. It's not interested in television, as it were. You don't have a moment where you're watching the cooking channel and, oh, that looks really, really good. You get a sense that if the beast ain't, like, a screen in pictures isn't going to do it.
It needs to be the real thing.
It needs to be the real thing.
Interesting. Very cool. Okay. Okay, so Roland puts his hand on Mercy's.
Just
Casual
just the
support?
lights. Yeah, no. Well, it's more of a reassurance. It's not.
It's hand rape.
Yeah, no. It's literally he puts his hand on top of yours and just lightly squeezes, like, this is in the past. This is okay. You'll be okay. He's just looking at you, though.
Sure. Okay. So, presumably the video ends
Yep.
at some point here. Mercy spends a very long time kind of staring at the end screen, either her leaving or the blood splatter that is left behind.
For clarity, the point that you get to the end is, it looks like you have drunk your fill and stumbled and fallen over. You see the timestamp fast forward a little bit, and it literally stops the minute that you sit up.
Okay.
And you are
Sorry.
literally caught up to the present.
I love you. I'm sorry. Are you single? No, wait.
Ooh. Oh, hi. Oh, hi.
Sorry, Tia. This is the storytelling I'm here for. Okay, so yes, there's a long moment while Mercy kind of stares at this scene, like her brain processing that this is literally what happened moments before the actual awakening of herself in this. Roland squeezes her hand and she turns to look at him, and with an almost fragile countenance covering up maybe like her feelings, like a very delicate PR face, she says, do you have any money on this one?
No. This
Right.
it's rough, but this was, most people don't get a gentle turning. But it's rough to see it.
He's
So-
very right on that. They're very seldom nice and gentle.
So, I suppose then my next question is, does this make things worse for me as we go into this meeting?
Well, you see, that's a bit of a gray area. And while I have a little experience with this, generally the one who creates the kindred is responsible for the kindred. So technically your actions, well, you committed them, are not your fault. However, that doesn't always mean that the court will side in your favor. But I have some tricks up my sleeves, and in the meantime, Six, is this the only copy of this recording?
This is the only copy. No one outside of this car has seen this footage.
Wonderful. And on the footage storyteller, you said that there were 2 people in the diner,
Mm-hmm.
and she killed both of them. There were
Yep.
no additional
There was
people
blood
that
on
we
her
could
when
see.
she arrived.
There
Is that
was,
correct?
but she was also an explosion. So I'm gonna hope that that's from that. Magdalena right now is just trying to
Mm-hmm.
tie up loose ends in her mind.
You
So,
are correct in that is what you have seen.
okay. Were there any additional camera angles that you could find from outside the diner, perhaps moments before?
Negative.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Well, I
I
might.
don't have them on me.
Well, that's
but-
highly annoying.
Unfortunately, it is what it is. There's nothing of the incident on it, so much as a lot of chaos from a cell phone video.
They take videos
The-
now?
Yes.
Fuck.
How far away was this explosion?
Technology?
How
What?
far was the cafe away from this explosion whenever it happened?
Well, I can actually help out with that. So, as we drag ourselves to blow this up, and where is my map of Chicago? That one. Alright, so, let me make sure this is displaying itself properly. So it is. It will be closer to the north side. So, Club Nova is here, where I am blinking at it.
Okay.
But the situation happened close to, if you can zoom in individually, around the Highland Park area. So the plant itself was a bit northwest or northeast of Highland Park. The diner seems to be on the southwestern diagonal of Highland Park. So theoretically, with you guys knowing what you would know, Mercy would have had to have been at her speech, done the things that she did, potentially have been turned at some point, and then woke up on the other side of the park, having gone through it.
From any of the footage, okay, 6 is trying to look at Roland in the rearview mirror. I'm assuming she just walked into the cafe. She wasn't dropped off. She wasn't dumped.
From the videos that I saw, did not focus on Mercy herself. It was basically of the protest,
Okay.
and then the explosion happened, and then a whole lot of chaos. So nothing from
So
around
nothing
Mercy.
masquerade breaking is
No.
what you're telling me.
No, nothing masquerade breaking.
Okay.
Nothing that I could see. Nothing that seems out of the ordinary other than a power plant explosion. But that in of itself is weird, but not us weird.
Right. Well, that is a small bit of good news, I suppose.
And around this point, you guys begin to get close to your destination. Now, for those of you who've seen it before, you already know a good chunk of what the normal meeting place for court is. For those of you who are new to town, or
I'm new in town. I
That's
have
all I can
AIDS.
think of. I have AIDS.
and Mercy wouldn't technically be
Oh,
new
John
to
Mulaney.
town, but the place
I
that
appreciate that you know that, by the way. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry.
no, you're okay.
We're having a moment. We're having a moment.
See, the bonding is finally happening. Mercy would probably know where this is because she's from the area, but those of you who are new to town, the exterior of the Howard Washington Library is a hell of a sight. It is a big, gothic-ass building that definitely looks like vampires would live in it. That building has very, very prominent gargoyles atop of it. Mostly bearing owls, looking out over the city on all corners, in all entrances. Normally at this point, this library is very, very closed. But probably not for you. So this would be the moment. Do you guys think that you're ready to go to court?
Dun, dun.
No,
No.
I don't
We
want
got-
to die.
I'm not gonna
I was
die.
a killer. What?
Mr.
I mean, what?
Kessler,
What?
I might get imprisoned.
Mr.
Okay.
Kessler, if they choose to make us all disarm, is that going to create an issue for you?
I take a slight step back and I'm like, but this is Elysium. We are guaranteed, or we agreed to not cause violence. So I will adhere to Elysium.
Well, that's wonderful, but in the past we have been asked to not have weapons, so I just want to make sure it's not going to be an issue should it come up. It may not.
Literal. Literal.
Oh
What do you
my.
roll? What is your intention with this roll?
I need to see if I'm going to do something.
Okay.
It's not against anybody. It's for my own thing. So give me a moment.
That's
I'm
fair.
going to make a resolve roll.
Go for it.
Are you okay with a resolve and composure roll? What I'm going to do
That is
is
exactly what it would be.
okay. So just to let you know, what I want to achieve by this roll is I want to see if I see the sense that Magdalene is trying to make, or if I'm too engrossed in my own paranoia
That's
to pay
fair.
attention to that.
And
Okay.
I would consider this to be a moderate challenge. So again, you'd be looking for 3 successes.
Okay, there we go.
That's what you got.
Okay, all right. So I kind of bite my.
That
my
was
lip
not a
little bit.
great roll for you either. That was lucky.
I was lucky, is what it was. I like look pensive for a moment, and then I slowly nod.
Okay.
Wonderful. Again, it may not come up. I just want you to be prepared.
And
I
with-
don't know if new security measures will have been implemented, so.
And with that, this is actually the point where we're going to pause for a minute and take a break. Tia will be saying goodbye for the rest of this particular game because we got all kind of early work stuff.
love you so
Bye, Six! Watch the car!
Watch the car.
Yes, ma'am.
be fine.
Thank you for delivering us safely.
You don't know what could happen
Go to
while
hell.
you're in
I
there.
will make a note,
Mm-hmm.
or at least DM make a note.
Uh-huh.
If the need arises,
Mm-hmm.
Six has a bag of weapons in the car.
Oh,
If,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody needs to leave their weapons with her, and if they need them, if shit goes down south, all they have to do is just give her a call.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and just for my personal edification, You have a party bag in the car. That's cool.
I
is
do.
is that gun with you? Just so that I know.
Yes, it is.
That gun.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds ominous.
Okay.
For
Oh,
no
no,
reason.
it's
Just in
fine.
case.
Fine. Everything's fine.
And with that, this is
Right.
where we're gonna go to break, guys.
It's fine. It's fine.
Water, some water. Go potty.
With
Love
this.
you guys. Take care of bodies.
Garcia, thanks for joining us.
Thank
Yep.
you. Lovely as always.
mics. Hot mics.
Hey.
Hot mics. Hey, yeah.
We're back.
Listen, none of these mics
Hi.
are mine. I'm
Hi,
just
Saya.
saying.
Thank you, Dixon, for pimping the shit out of this in the chat.
Yay,
Um,
pimp us,
Yay.
wait.
Pimp it.
Welcome back. Thank you for the raid. We're about to get into some court intrigue. So
Ooh.
thank you for everyone who's joined us. Welcome back to Chicago by Night. And where last we left off, our faithful ghoul has deposited Magdalena Masters, James Kessler, Roland, and Mercy outside of Chicago's Howard Washington Public Library.
Let's be clear, unless I'm forced to relinquish my weapons, I'm not going to do it.
You're on the street right now. Nothing has happened yet.
Good. I still have my stuff.
Currently,
Then-
you have your stuff.
Mercy, full PR mode, steps out of the car, brushes herself off, straightens her blazer, makes sure her hair is pinned back appropriately. She wants to look like the kind of person who you can trust to be the face of an event. Because Lord
Ooh.
knows
Ooh.
something's got to be her redeeming quality, and the murder of 2 innocents is definitely not it. So
That is definitely not it. But as it stands, you guys are outside of a big fucking library that is definitely closed. Although Magdalena has definitely also been here before. So it doesn't take long for her to maneuver you through the side street towards the back entrance, as it were, where there are 2 gentlemen in suits very similar to what James is wearing, actually. Most of you can tell this outright, but just for funsies here, Mercy, give me an awareness and wits roll to see if you pick up this little detail as well.
No.
that is-
Also,
That's one
I also
success.
want to assess the location that we're at. Try to make a note of where all the entrances are, exits, things like that, security on the place, where they have cameras, things like that.
So, this is a public library. You notice there are a bunch of all of those things, and you clock them pretty easily. Moving to Mercy for one moment, as you approach the guards at the door, with 1 success, that's enough. You do notice, okay, these are not like you. There's a heartbeat, there's breathing, the little things that you are paying attention to now, they're breathing. There's a light smell of perspiration. They're people. They're at least as much living as 6 is. Any further details, you're not really sure. But 2 guards. James, I'm not even going to make you roll for this. They are definitely pistol, underarm, holster under the suit. Like bad action movie goon style, like not really a particularly efficient way to do things, but it's one of those they'll be able to. It's for appearances. They still look good in the suit. You can still mostly not tell, but you know, definitely.
Okay.
As you all approach, they 2 guys, sunglasses at night, real cliche, look over each of you briefly and put eyes on Magdalena.
We're expected. Please move
And
aside.
they don't even say a word to you. They just do one of the like chin nods, and one of them steps slightly out of the way, and the other moves to open the door whilst they're basically they stop paying attention to you entirely and are still watching the street to make sure that nobody stops you from entering, and nobody else is going to enter either. And pointedly, do not conduct a pat down.
Curiouser and curious.
So you're led inside the big library, which, once you walk
How many
in,
do I see?
it's a beautiful fucking library.
That's a cool picture.
Yeah.
That's a
I
cool
wonder where I
picture.
got that. Guy who lives around Chicago. So you go in. For the most part, it is pretty quiet, pretty not particularly of interest. It's big, it's empty, and it's quiet. And it looks like every other place you might have snuck into after hours that you shouldn't have been in. But one of you has been here before and knows the right way to the room that you're seeing in front of you. It's very tall ceiling. The latticed roof work is pretty impressive. And as you make your way in, there are several figures standing in this big wide room. They don't look like because the room is so big, it doesn't look like there's very many of them, but there are several things I will be
I'm
sharing
keeping an eye
with
out
you.
for that one lady, and I'm going to pointedly try to avoid her. if
Pointedly
possible.
trying to ignore.
I accidentally pressed stuff when I wasn't supposed to, and I switched scenes to my ending scene by accident. Oops.
That's okay. You work on that and get back. So in the game, you start to see several of these people that are in here. Notably, nobody notices the prince yet. There are others around. One of the first people you meet when you walk into the room is, in fact, the notable sheriff, Damien. Young black man, looks like kind of teenaged. Both Roland and James, you would have at least known who this is just by sheer notion of coming to a new city. One of the first people you met would have been the sheriff.
It definitely looks like the enforcer type, right?
He does not, surprisingly. He
Really?
very much is like, looks like a kid in a band shirt. He looks like he's well built, but he's very light on the touch, at least at how he's presenting himself. As Maggie walks in with her retinue, as it were, he nods to her.
Maggie will return the nod, maybe a little bit deeper. And if she's within speaking distance, she'll say, "Damien, a pleasure to see you as always."
There's always some shit with you around. He said, kind of sly with a smile, though. Not like he's upset, but the man tells the truth. And that is very far from the whole of the people there. Among the others that Magdalena knows, at least, there are several figures, one of which Roland is very upset to see. Toreador. That does not have that smeared across your face at this moment.
Fantastic.
But that is definitely a pretty good example of her personality.
This is gonna make Roland so happy.
Oh god.
Because as Magdalena sees Annabelle, she goes like full rich white lady. And, "Oh, Annabelle dear, how lovely to see you again."
Annabelle turns, and her eyes, in a laser sight, fixed to Maggie, and just off to the side, miss seeing Roland by just an instant.
Fantastic.
It's like, oh dear, it's wonderful to see you. How's the little club going? And they just start going.
I will stay pointedly away from that.
I find it like a really safe corner to stay away from all these stupid people.
Stupid people. That's fair. On Annabelle's arm is the other Toreador that Roland would probably know, the
Yes.
harpy of Brett Stryker. Very,
Him,
very Lost Boys vibe to
him
it.
I don't mind.
Looking around, Maggie knows a bunch, but there are very few that the other members of the group would particularly know. James, there would be a single one of that you would know, and you would know it to be the one that you were introduced to once you first made it into town as your primogen, a thin but sturdily built woman, very long brown hair, with an infectious smile.
Right.
That you would know goes by Bronwyn.
Right. That's my clan primogen here, right?
That is indeed. And Mercy, as glancing around some of these other people, there seem to be a bunch. There is an older black man who is very intense, and his eyes don't all look to be fully in place. They just seem they're almost alabaster. In the corner, kind of doing the job that everyone else would expect the sheriff to be doing instead of bumping elbows with everybody, is a Latino woman who is smoking right now. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Surprisingly, with the rest of like all of the mostly human-looking vampires present, is a very blatant Nosferatu who seemed to share Maggie's love of hats. And there is another man who has got the full African garb going on. And last and not least, well, Maggie has had several dealings, but there is a guy who is in a suit, all black, coat's black, undershirt's black, tie's black, John Wick in style, very, very intense eyes, who sees what Maggie is doing with Annabelle over there and just kind of gives a very quiet nod and doesn't interrupt, but does one of those hey, when you're done.
As soon as, I make my rounds to the people, I will eventually make my way over to Adrian.
And I'm going to clear out all
Additionally, I will briefly stop at Khalid.
Okay.
And make a point to ask if Miss Bobin will be joining us this evening, and if not, send my regards to her and mention that we should get together some evening.
The pleasantries go through, sparing the entire conversation, which he decides to keep short anyways.
That's fair.
Goes into she's not going to be here, but I'll pass it along for you.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
So there's a lot of people in this room, Mercy. And the way that some of the others start to hold themselves gives you the whole, oh, this is a bunch of landmines feeling when you walk into a room and you just know there's oh, there's stuff going on. And the little things and the looks between them all. Oh, how Maggie immediately is like handling them.
You see,
You've
like,
done this once or twice in your PR.
Mhm.
You see what's going on here.
Okay. Can she, as she looks around at all these people, I would like have her kind of piece together what her best course of action would be. Whether she should stand very primly, kind of not under the radar, but like almost a submissive posture, or a looking around, would that be taken rather as a sign of weakness, and she should stand politely but with the confidence of somebody who is less so likely to be trod on?
I'm going to say that's not even going to be a role that you would need, because you've done this a bit, and you know that you are in mixed company. In all that entails, the way you do it will probably work with some and not with others. Depends on who you want to deal with. So it is entirely up to her. Speaking of which, what's Roland and James doing now that they're here? Is Roland just literally hiding behind people to get away from Annabelle? Is that how this is going?
No. I'm trying to avoid her gaze, but I definitely want to go up to the sheriff at some point in time.
Okay.
And
you can say you head that way.
Yeah.
Let's see how the whole avoiding a gaze thing goes.
Yeah.
Because I can do that.
Well,
Alright. She seems like the conversation with Maggie's going pretty well right now.
Fantastic. But so I'm going to reintroduce myself.
And Damien turns.
Damien.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff Damien. I believe we met earlier, but I wanted to actually talk, if we can.
He turns, and he's a young black man. He is not fucking dressed up for this. Like,
yeah.
He is almost at a level where James should be angry seeing him, except for the fact of he's the fucking sheriff, and you think he can get away with it. So he turns and sees you. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're the Roland, yes. Right?" And he like extends his hand, and there's no like, there's no like bullshit. There's no like airs about him. He just reaches out and like shakes your hand.
Yeah, definitely shake back. So I actually wanted to have a kind of business conversation with you for a second.
Okay. We probably got about 10 minutes before this all starts, so alright, what you got?
I just wanted to, I wanted to see if I could jam with you guys, you guys sometime.
Shit. Really?
Yeah, I play a lot of instruments, but I'm a pretty good DJ myself, but I can play a lot of instruments. I just want to jam with fellow musicians.
This is going to sound dumb.
Okay.
How you do with the drums?
I'm fantastic.
We might have to talk.
No.
Only one... He briefly looks around as if reminding himself where he is. The only one we have left in the group with a heartbeat is a drummer. We can just even this out. You know what? Next time we have any kind of big thing, give it a try. We'll jam. See how it goes.
Hey, we'll jam. If it's not cool, well, fine. But if it's cool, I'll be down.
He looks at you for a second, kind of appraising, and he does like one of those like punches at your shoulder that isn't really supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
And it's a little stronger than you expected, as you probably did expect. So you did the whole thing where you look like it's trying not to hurt. So there's that.
I appreciate it. Just yeah, here's my number. Boom.
Yeah. All right, I have to check this out. And then he puts it in his pocket and turns to look at something else. And like as he turns, it's almost like a transition scene because as he walks away, right behind you is Annabelle just looking right at you. Goes, darling, we haven't had a chance yet.
Hello. I bow.
This intense icy gaze just approaches you, and you feel like, oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah. No. You
On the other side of the room, James, are you
Yeah, I'm
actively
just-
avoiding everything?
Yep, I'm staying away from these people as much as possible. I want to have the least amount to deal with these people as I can.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be disrespectful necessarily.
Mhm.
I mean, that's to be determined. But I don't want to be here. I don't like any of these people. I just really just want to go home.
But buddy,
That's
buddy.
You're not here.
You're not here. You are being accosted by a primogen. And speaking of being accosted by a primogen,
Yay.
yours goes a little bit differently. I assume James is off to the side, like maybe doing the whole like wallflower thing.
Yeah, I'm in the corner as far as possible.
Most of the rest of the court seems to be in the central area. You're pretty far out. And
Yeah.
Bronwyn, the Melchivi
My
primogen,
primogen. Yeah, my primogen.
separates herself from the crowd and, like, in a very non-hostile way, practiced almost, like, walks in your direction, doesn't come particularly too close, and, like, before she even starts talking to you at all, kind of, like, puts her back to the wall, like, 3 feet down the wall from you, like, far enough away.
I'm keeping an eye on her.
And
I not so
she's-
discreetly put my hand in my pocket.
And she is just like looking at the crowd for a minute. There's like almost a sense of like the best way I could probably put it into perspective is like wolves kind of appraising each other.
Yeah.
And she takes him in and goes, well, I kind of hate these two, but I'm glad you came. Get it out of the way.
Just here because I have to be, ma'am.
Are you good? How are the meetings going? Is everything acceptable? No problems?
I kind of shoot her a look, kind of suspicious for a second, and I just give a terse nod.
It's good enough for me. I tend not to pry. If you need anything, though, and she's very much not the kind of woman to wear dresses. She's kind of doesn't have like the whole pantsuit thing going on, but she does have a nice blouse and like a nice pair of slacks and heels. And she reaches into a purse and pulls out this like kind of little crumpled piece of paper, and just kind of like, while keeping her eyes on everything else, just kind of sort of passes it off this way to you. I assume you take it.
After a hesitation, I take it.
So you now have the phone number if you ever need to get a hold of your primogen.
Okay.
Roland doesn't have a choice but to get her number and reminded.
I will act grateful to have it.
And I am not going to go into the whole spiel because that would take a session in and of itself. But it is the proprietor of the Succubus Club of Chicago. The like big bitch Toreador is right here. And it is impressed upon you that you are new in this town, and not only do you need not only do you need to find a way to make your clan proud and impress them, she's also actually very eager to see your skills and to like see what kind of art you bring to the table and how you can make this city a better place and how exciting it can be. And
Oh, I hate the tornado
constant-
so much.
The constant heaping of
Alright.
expectations is a very common theme. And that is-
pleasant.
And only because, one, you haven't made very many rolls tonight, and two, you actually sort of in a little bit of a high-stakes situation socially. I'm actually going to make you make a small roll here. It might not be a small roll
Oh,
considering your...
Somebody making a roll.
It might not
Why?
be small
gonna
considering
fuck
your
this up.
dice pool. I'm going to say, as I pull up a sheet here so I can remind myself, you will probably want to roll.
Etiquette.
It'd be etiquette and charisma. It would definitely be etiquette and charisma.
Oh my god. I'm so happy right now.
Don't fuck it up too much.
I'm homeless. I'm gay. I have AIDS. I'm new in town.
It's the order you went with.
These references.
Hmm.
Damn,
nice.
at 4. You got 4. 4 successes. You managed to... Boy, this is like... You just defused a fucking bomb, man. Like, you just do, like, the exact right things, and you managed to, like, act interested at the right points, and then, like, not worry about it as much in the others. You just come off as, like, cool. You managed to do your whole cool thing. And that's his interior monologue is basically that. So, Mercy, have you
Yeah.
been hanging around with Maggie? Have you been following anyone else? What have you been doing in this room full of people that, as of yet, nobody seems to come up and bug you yet?
Yeah, so Roland moved off, is that correct?
Roland was absconded with by a very intimidating and intense white-haired lady.
Yes, but prior to that, he moved off to talk to the sheriff.
He did, yes.
Actually, Mercy, without really crowding James at all, has kind of hovered near him, right? He has made this
Like
big
off to the
show
side?
about, like, he's made this show of
bitch.
yeah, he made the show of being like very unhappy with her, but she also recalls the moment of the rescue and how very intentional he was in trying to be helpful, and so she's not really sure, but she knows that if she
I
stands
think unhappy
near,
is like a very, very low-balling way of saying it.
Mhm.
so she understands that there is a bit of tie between them, even if it's not necessarily entirely positive. And so, not necessarily really near him, she stands in that general area and she watches each of her companions. So she's watching Maggie, trying to piece together who she's actually fond of, who she is not fond of. She has seen this embarrassment Roland has made, like, hey man, you want to hang out sometime? We could be chill.
But it
and
seemed to
seen how-
work.
Let's
Yeah.
jam, bro.
Let's jam, bro. Yeah. No, she's watched this happen, and from the corner of her eye, she has watched James have this not quite standoff agreement with whoever the fuck is talking to him. And so she's just kind of looking. She is gazing about, watching, trying to piece together which relationships are actual camaraderie and which ones are much like the one that Roland just had. Oh fuck, please, if I get this just right, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. That's
And that's it. She's just standing. She is standing comfortably, not necessarily seeking attention or to catch anybody's eye, but she is also not shrinking back for anybody who crosses her gaze or anything.
I would say, and Maggie, please tell me that if I am incorrect, but in Maggie's movings between the various crowds, she seems pretty comfortable with everybody.
Every single person that she talks to, regardless of clan, which she does hit up pretty much every clan to some extent, to make her presence known, to greet them, to respect them, and show them respect. She's done this a lot and been doing it for a very long time. It would be very difficult for you to discern who she truly likes and who she doesn't like.
But that's exactly what she's going for right now, which means, hey, Mercy, it's time to roll some dice.
All right.
Dice.
So you're gonna be
This is
doing.
awesome.
That'll be. I would say, insight is a skill,
Okay.
and wits, because that's what it would take.
Okay. Now, would this not have anything
No specialties here, I don't think. This isn't.
with?
No, you don't have any
Communication
specialties in that.
specialty?
Well, actually, fuck it. I'll give you a 1 dice bonus. I'll give you a 1 dice bonus because this is kind of one of the things that your character is focused upon. Because that seems fair.
Can't wait to find out what clan you
Oh,
are.
shit!
Oh, fuck!
Holy
Why are these the things I succeed well
This is
on?
what you're good at. The dice know. So,
Well,
Maggie, I will actually have you. She
You wanna
doesn't
contest
care so
the
much
roll?
about the ones that you're faking it. No, you don't even need to depose roll. That's good. What would you say of the people who you're talking with? Who would be the one you're actually interested in talking with? As close as you can get to being, if not a friend, then something close.
well, I haven't at this point got to speak with Adrian Tars.
Which
But-
we can get to right now if you like.
We will get to that. That would be one. There,
And yes, for everyone new to Roll20 here, sorry to interrupt, but all of these things that are popping up, they are now entered into your NPC database, which you have on Roll20 now. I've done a lot of these.
you would notice. Speaking with Sheriff Damien, I'm genuinely respectful of Damien. I am genuinely respectful of Annabelle because of things that she's helped me with, maybe.
Maybe.
And with Khalid, the Nosferatu Primogen, I'm genuinely respectful because of the person that I'm speaking about. Everyone else has been, of all of the other people, it's been just a cordial, hello, hi, how are you kind of mood, as opposed to those.
And then we finally get to the point where Maggie does walk up to Adrian Tars, who is standing kind of...
In the dark.
Usually, and he's kind of in the darkest point of the room on the side. Has his doing the whole like hand on his wrist stand. Sees Magdalena walk up and he nods. Wild nights.
Well, dear. Aren't they all?
Usually.
I'm thinking of changing my club to Ellis Island. What do you think? Since I seem to be getting all of these new recruits.
He snorts.
Ellis Island. Sorry.
It's the wrong town, but I like what you're going for.
Primogen, status looks good on you, Adrian.
I didn't really want it, but
I find that often those that don't want it are the ones most deserving.
I have been here a while. And I've been here a while longer than the rest of my peers. So it was the one that Prince Jackson was most comfortable with. So here we are. Are we still going to do cross promotions of each other's clubs? Is that a thing?
Of course, dear. As we discussed previously, I'm always out to help the ones I like.
I think we're going to get along fine. How about, Have you heard from Victoria lately?
No, she hasn't written, but you know how the Banu Hakim are. They tend to keep to themselves until they really want to be known. How about your child, Persephone? How does she fare these evenings?
We have a, as you would expect, we have a lot of structural reorganizing to do.
I imagine so. And I also would imagine that, well, the events of the last time the La Sombra delegation was in town may have been a bit scarring for her, one so young.
She's a bit more resilient than, hell, even I expected, but...
Well, at least Prince Jackson's decree didn't fall to her. She got grandfathered in somewhat similar to you.
Not used to being a grandfather.
Well,
Sierra seems to be doing fine, and her hotel chain is starting to kick off. Yeah. It's going
please
to
let
be
me know if
it's going to be complicated, especially if more of us start showing up. Because as you know, the cost for admission is high.
That is one way of putting it. And I would like to, and we can do it formally, since we are here at court. If you'd prefer, I can call Mr. Stryker over. But I would like to offer you a major boon in any assistance that you might have in these nights.
He pointedly tilts a brow at the mention of the B word. It seems that, and you see Mercy, you see this dude, dark hair, white fucking skin, like wolf yellow eyes, looks right over Maggie's shoulder, like right into your brain from across the room for a minute. And then looks back to Maggie. Like, if everything goes well tonight, let's do that. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm not worried.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that even if you were, not even I would be able to tell.
He smiles pretty widely. And Mercy might actually get her first look at a vampire's fangs then. And you stop for think for a minute. You feel around with your tongue. No, you don't have sharp teeth. Do they come out when they want to? How does that work? You don't really have time to figure it out, and the rest of the conversation doesn't really have a great opportunity to keep going, because the door opens on the far side. And Maggie knows this by heart, and everyone else who knows anything about vampires gets hit with, oh shit, here's the Ventru. First through the door, some of you would know him already. Actually, Roland and James would have gotten a letter from him. The Seneschal, Alan Sovereign, walks in, followed by a businessman. Nice suit, but it's weird to talk about an extra portly vampire, but Maggie's favorite and best friend, Horatio Ballard, walks into the room.
I hate that fucking guy.
Right behind the Seneschal. They look around for a moment, and the idle chatter begins to come down a little bit. Before behind them, you've heard talk of the prince all night, Mercy, and even if nobody had told you what the fuck a prince was, the way this guy walks into a room, that's the prince. A younger black man walks into the room. Shaved head. Very intense eyes. Suit. Coat over top of the suit. Regal bearing. And walks in and stops and looks around very appraisingly in one of those ways that gives most people, probably Magdalena included, a little shiver that goes down the spine. He has one of those things that just exudes power. He's one of those people that knows he has it and is not shy about it. The other two venture kind of split up and go off to the side, and there is a little podium set up in the library, almost like a reading lecture. It's just like up one step. It's not a big, extravagant thing. And Prince Kevin Jackson walks past it, along with one other individual, if I dig around in my files here. It is a younger-looking woman who follows behind him very quietly, eyes downcast. Green eyes. Very long, just flowy robes. The face Roland is making tells me all that I need to know. And they walk up to the podium. What is everybody doing as the prince arrives? As I set this crap up.
Maggie will turn to Adrian and go, "Well, Adrian, I must go greet my clan. Speak later."
He gives what looks like a very sympathetic nod.
Thank
He's
you.
very sorry you have to go through this in this trying
And
time.
As Maggie turns, and maybe only Adrian can see, but the subtle frown turns into her normal shit-eating smile. And
Mask
she
comes
will
on.
make... Yes, the mask goes on, and she will make her way over to Alan Sovereign first, and...
There are
Am I free of
handshakes.
Annabelle?
There are handshakes to be had. By the way, because you did a really fucking good roll, Mercy, you saw that mask come on. Also, this is very much your department of feeling out how this stuff works, and you picked that up. So Roland disengages from Annabelle.
Okay, fantastic.
As soon as the prince walks in the room, it's just an immediate. You're not there anymore.
Fantastic. I slip away. I'm going back of the room near Mercy. I'm just nope.
Mercy has picked up on the mild subtleties of the room, and has decided to just test out a little bit of what she's kind of picking up as Roland approaches. And she just very politely nods her head, lowers her eyes, and raises them back up as he approaches. And she goes, looks to be quite interesting.
Yeah. Is gonna be interesting. Yeah, that's a choice way of putting it. Okay. I'm okay.
She'll start to reach out to touch him, and then decide that maybe she should not. But there'll be a brief moment of the consolatory pat that people offer sometimes, and she'll think better.
He wouldn't have moved into or away. Just relief on his face, because that woman is like a Claymore mine, just ready to fucking go off. Anyway,
She has a very elegant dress on, and on the back it just says "Front towards enemy."
Towards enemy. I'm good.
Style. Maybe for the summer collection. So everything calms down once the prince walks in. It's like one of those, he doesn't have to call the room to attention. It just fucking happens. The newcomers actually get a little bit of a sense of, this doesn't feel like a supernatural thing, but just being around him is, just because of his bearing implies respect should be shown right now. It's like the Pope walked in or something like that. But he doesn't seem to use this fanfare very much. He doesn't seem to acknowledge it, and he just very like straightforward and walks up to the little podium, and the brown-haired woman goes to stand next to him, and she has looks like something wood under her arm. Not really able to detect what it is.
Before Jackson speaks, Magdalena would have said her hellos and highs to the clan and made her way to Mercy to stand next to her and tell her,
Okay.
Get a very
Don't-
polite.
eyes down, show respect.
And you just get a little hint, Maggie, like, shit, this one knows what she's doing. It's definitely better than your last one.
That's true. Basically night and day.
And Jackson does reach the podium.
Dun dun dun.
All right, everyone. He speaks, and he's got this big basso voice that, like, could go from anywhere from, like, public speaker to, like, preacher if he wanted to. A lot has happened. Thank you for joining us on such short notice. Magdalena, thank you for caring for our newcomers.
A very slight bow to Prince Jackson.
A lot is going on, so let's get to this quickly. To those of you who are new, my name is Prince Kevin Jackson. This is my city. I welcome you to it. And in the sake of the traditions, I ask you to, and he does one of these things with open hands, both one towards Roland, one towards James. Please state your name and your clan to be introduced to the city. And he waits.
I am Roland of Clan Toreador.
He
I
inclines,
am humbled to be in your presence.
he inclines his head ever so slightly in a way that you feel like you did good.
Watch Kizo.
I was.
Someone clip it.
The eyes turn slowly towards James. And they're definitely supernatural. There's little red points.
My character has his arms crossed, leaning against the wall.
Oh, so you're still standoffish off in the corner?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't told me that he needs me anywhere specific, so I don't give a fuck.
Nope.
I just say, James Kessler, Malkavian.
There isn't an incline to his head this time, but he, like, centers himself. And says, I welcome you both to the city of Chicago. As long as you abide by the traditions, I deem you welcome in my territory. And now to the matter at hand. And he turns and looks straight towards Magdalena and Mercy. Magdalena Masters,
Yes, Your Grace.
please describe the events that brought this, yet again, new kindred into our presence. For all to hear.
Before this
Hmm.
happens, I'm watching, what's his fucking name?
Which
Excuse
one?
me?
No.
Ballard.
Ballard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you're
I'm
right.
just keeping my eye on him, that's all.
Horatio Ballard with no rolls needed because this isn't like it's difficult. He a big guy. He is standing off with Alan Sovereign, the Seneschal, just watching Maggie and Mercy pointedly.
Okay.
No wavering to it, no occasional looks to anyone else in the crowd. Zhup.
That's fine.
That's where he's at.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on
Got it.
him, though.
Mm-hmm. On this.
Do I notice?
No, you shouldn't be looking at him. You should be looking at Prince.
Fair.
I'm
And
Maggie.
Maggie would subtly ensure that
In
you
fact-
were.
Is that one
I
of those,
believe that
like,
Mercy is quite.
moments?
Yeah,
I
you-
believe
you
there's
feel-
very much a happening.
Magdalena will nod to Prince Jackson and go, "Thank you for the flow. What we have before us this evening is but another unclaimed kindred welcomed to the flock. I believe due to the explosion at Mr. Ballard's power facility, this one here was either in the chaos or before the chaos turned. She then found her way to a small diner, and when she arrived, she did what all hungry kindred do. Myself and my associates have ensured that the masquerade was not breached, and continue to follow up with it, as per the traditions. It is unclear at this time, due to missing evidence, as to which clan would claim this one. And it is my belief in my time with her over this last night or so that she should be given a chance, as the court has seen fit to do in the past.
So this whole time, Jackson's eyes have that red gleam to them, and he is... Does Mercy ever look up? And for a
There
minute,
is no lifting of her head.
she looks up a little bit though.
Yeah, it's very much a subtle, like, glance.
You
She's
have
standing very properly.
you have probably one of the most intense gazes that has ever fallen on Mercy in her life. It isn't necessarily hostile, but it's just in magnitude. Because of his eyes are all dark with red points. It is almost as if, like, it's like a Terminator is looking at you. He's very dispassionate. You spent your whole career reading people and, like, figuring out what makes them tick by the little gestures and little everythings. He has fucking nothing. He's a statue. He's probably the coldest thing that you've ever had the ability to try and read from a person that you've dealt with yet. And it's definitely one of those, oh shit, That's right. This is a room full of actual monsters, and I'm one too. Moment. But Magdalena finishes, and there's a moment. After she said, feel that she would be useful, and as the court has want to see before, and he speaks quietly. I feel we should find that out. Your name is Mercy. He doesn't seem to ask, but he pauses and waits for a response anyways.
You get a nudge.
Mercedes Grace. But yes, Mercy.
Mercedes. I like that. Approach, please.
She'll nod and do so slowly and cautiously.
You are aware that there is a semicircle of monsters watching you approach another big monster on a dais, and it's very... You get a very medieval vibe going here. It gets a little more when you see the woman next to him. Remove the whatever the wooden thing was, which is not a pointy stick, thankfully. It is a wooden bowl. And you see her pull a small knife.
Oh, she gets stabbed with it. Oh, she gets stabbed.
You know, she's in a room of monsters, but as small as she may be, she too is a monster. She will not flinch at this. But again, just maintain her composure. Be very, very polite about her approach.
She's brave.
Not lagging, not, you know, there's no hesitance, but she is also not moving at any speed, which might be taken as aggressive.
Okay, excellent. There's almost, because you're good at picking up this shit, there's almost like a look of, oh, okay, in the prince's eyes. Like, okay. And he begins to speak again, but not just to you, more out to the crowd. A kind of certain traditions. Traditions of bloodlines, of clan. The responsibility to those that we've created. As far as I have seen, these unauthorized embraces are increasing in frequency. Mercedes, whoever it is that your sire may be, has violated at least two of our traditions. That of progeny, that of accounting, and potentially the masquerade. Now, as the witnesses of the events claim, and the reports I've heard, I understand that you have no knowledge of who has embraced you. This is true, is it not?
That is correct.
We shall find out some of that. And he bids you to approach. And the woman places the bowl on the little lectern that he has set up. No prepared speech on it or anything like that. He takes Mercy's hand by the wrist, surprisingly lightly, and brings it up over top of the bowl. The woman takes the knife, cuts herself on the palm, works it into the bowl. The bowl being right here. As I get rid of the picture of Kevin Jackson for dramatic effect.
Dramatic effect.
Dramatic effect. I assume that Mercy allows herself to be cut in the same manner, because that is what is about to happen.
Yes, I have a question. So,
Yes.
Mercy has been living in this body that is very new and different, but nothing super extravagant has happened to her. What does she expect of this cut? Does she expect great pain the way that it would have been if she were human? Or is her sense of physicality not necessarily dulled, but changed enough that she may not necessarily expect that intense pain?
Those are good questions to ask. And as far as you know, you've not been injured since you've become a vampire. So, the way they've talked, injury might not be as big of a problem as before, but in truth, those questions are going through Mercy's mind, and you don't have a sense. Fair questions. Especially more fair as a knife comes right towards your hand.
Ooh.
And
Then yes, her hand is out, and is the woman cutting her hand or the prince?
the woman.
Okay, she glances at the woman as the knife approaches her hand, but then will return her attention, but not like her gaze, right? She's not going to like stare down the prince, but she will definitely return her attention to him as
Those
this
are
happens.
wise words. Starting to get this whole vampire thing. Briefly, the woman's eyes meet yours and she looks down pretty quick. Like real quick. Enough for you to pick up on it.
Okay.
And she focuses clinically on your hand. Quick slash across the palm. Questions answered. It is dulled a little bit. You've been cut open. Doesn't feel as bad or as sharp or as bad as like a it would have been when you were mortal, but at the same time you can, if you like, your fingers are still touching each other, you still have a perfect sense of feeling. Pain, little less. Physical damage doesn't mean as much. Good question. Good answer. And she takes your hand and like the cut palms go together and she squeezes. That hurts a little bit. And the blood, it isn't really blood as much. It feels more. It feels thicker. It feels more central to you now. Seems to be something to be expected if you just figured out a vampire thing. Blood starts to drip. Spat, spat, spat into the bowl. And it's there for a few solid seconds, and then she releases you and focuses on the bowl. And begins chanting. It's not a language you know. And it's under her breath. It's kind of muttered. And you do not have a small knowledge of that sort of thing either. It is definitely on the occult side of things. Minutes go by like this, and you realize there's everybody around is still watching this. One or two of them has actually stepped forward. Has anybody else... first off, has any of this group here stepped forward to see into the bowl? If you step within 5 feet or so, you should be able to look up and see down.
Magdalena
Nope.
hasn't moved.
I currently am trying to decide whether or not it'd be easier just to kill myself
Fair.
to get out of this place.
Does Elysium work on your violence upon yourself?
Yeah,
Good
right.
question.
I'm not breaking any like law, right? If I kill myself, it's fine, right?
That depends on where you are.
Oh my god, I hate meetings so much.
And as her incantation begins to reach a climax, you see the blood pops again. Like air's under it and moving it. Then it starts to skitter around a little bit in the bowl and starts to rearrange itself. don't really know, depending on what music scene Mercy has been into, if she would equate a clan symbol to something that it wasn't, but there are definitely similarities to stuff that you've seen before. The bowl becomes that.
That's been interesting. That's very interesting.
Boop. There you go.
Ah!
You have a thing now.
I have a thing.
I'm sure Kasoka's very angry.
Sorry,
you
stop paying
jealous?
attention. What?
Sure you did. The prince looks down and lets out probably the kind of sigh that the term long-suffering sigh came from in the first place. It mutters, "It's always the damn anarchs." Magdalena Masters, do you intend on taking a second adopted child this evening?
If it would ease the prince's burden, I'd be happy to take it on.
In that case, I have an objective for you and those you can recruit to your cause. Find out what fucking anarchs are embracing in my territory without permission.
Would you like me to escort them to Damien? Or would you prefer they were dealt with as swiftly as possible?
I would prefer. And he pauses, and a little bit of his anger doesn't dissipate, but becomes more controlled.
Ooh.
I would prefer that you find information first. The Anarchs of Chicago are currently under a peace treaty. Were this another city and were I another prince, this would be enough to declare a small war, if not a minor conflict, but this isn't something that I want to do now. I want to find out who is doing this. I want to find out why Ventru interests were attacked. I want to find out if this one, and then that eye goes right on to Mercy again, and this time it's full eye contact, and this is one of those things where if how pissed off someone is could, like, knock you on your ass, this is it right now. Presence is overwhelming.
Is her hand still in the...
Nope. It was, after the ritual had begun, she had removed her hand, and you were standing on your own freedom.
The weight of his gaze causes her to take a small step back.
And still speaking to Magdalena, but staring at Mercy. I want you to see if this one will be useful to the Camarilla of Chicago. I assume this is acceptable. He speaks over, and the black man with a very long beard simply gives a very generous nod, like nothing about this whole situation has bothered him at all. He's stayed very quiet. And then eyes go back to Magdalena. Do you think you can accomplish this?
Magdalena will look, meeting the prince's eyes, and not with a smile on her face, but with a very with confidence that doesn't quite meet Prince Jackson, but comes close, she will say, I believe that there is very little that I cannot accomplish in service of the Camarilla.
Good. Eric, though. And he turns and looks at the woman. And she doesn't look up, but turns, squares her shoulders towards him. Did you get a name? And she very quietly nods and just says the word Reese. Jackson nods and looks back at Mercy. Goes, that is the name of your sire. You, Magdalena, and whoever you can recruit to your cause are to find who this is, why they did what they did, and to deal with that. Have I been clear?
Completely.
Jackson nods, glances around the room, which, oh boy, let me tell you how many people are not looking at that, not trying to meet that gaze.
I'm picking up my fingernails with my my knife.
Still keeping my eye on mother fat fucker.
Real
Yeah,
quick,
Lord.
because Magdalena heard it, but Matt's audio caught out. Find him, find out why, and find evidence?
And,
What was the third?
And to deal with it.
Deal with it. Thank you.
On that note, Horatio Ballard doesn't seem to have moved. He's still standing with Alan Sovereign.
Cool.
I hate
quietly.
him so much. I hate him so much.
He seems to be pleased with the
Which
way
one?
this has gone. Ballard seems to be pleased with the way this has gone. And after that, Jackson glances across the crowd quickly, as if waiting for anybody to say anything. And unless they are a player in this game, none of the NPCs do. The moment of silence goes noticed, and Jackson lets out a very short, adjourned then. Stay safe. And remember the traditions. And he removes himself from the stage. And his entourage of Eric, though, presumably Tremere, and Ballard and Seneschal all leave the room. There's a collective releasing of breath. And quiet conversation begins to spark up again.
Mercy will turn quickly, trying to find Magdalena.
As Mercy turns, Magdalena is there, and she will grab Mercy's arm and walk her over to Critias.
Oh, so interesting. Right.
So you walk over to
You're not
this.
nice to me.
You walk over to this old black man, beard down like Santa Claus, bald head. He looks at you with these eyes that almost look completely gold. And once you get over there, you're not actually really sure if you can equate like a human being race to him. He looks like he might be somewhere between like black, he might be Greek. The color's a little off. He carries himself with a kind of weight that like not the sort of rampant dominance that Jackson does, but he's very quiet, reserved, and he has an air of age about him.
As soon as we get in front of him, I will put my hand on Mercy's back and kind of push her to indicate that she should give a bow.
Bow or a curtsy?
A bow.
Do whatever you do.
That's true. Yep. However you would interpret that.
The small of her back, you give her a small push.
Like up on, like in between your shoulder blades.
Oh, yeah, then she just bows. Not super deeply necessarily, more of a, oh, is this what we're doing? Okay, right. Trying to, fill in the gaps of what she doesn't know without looking like too much of an idiot. So she will give a small bow, eyes downturned, and then when she stands back up, which she will do actually relatively quickly, her eyes will be downcast and her chin lowered.
The man, Siritas, just gives a nod back. Welcome to the Night Child. It seems you're of Clan Bruja. And you say you know nothing of your sire or who made you?
No, sir, nothing.
At some length, I feel almost obligated to tell you of the history of your blood and those who came before. It's a long history.
I understand I have nothing but time.
I might like you. I might very well like you. It seems that, as of now, you're in the charge of Ms. Magdalena, who is fairly knowledgeable of clan lore. She has not been around quite as long as I, but she has seen several things. Just know that in you is blood of kings, blood of philosopher kings, of Carthage. Your blood is that of the warrior, and your blood is also that of the speaker. You have a long line behind you, and perhaps much to live up to.
Bruja. It's my favorite clan.
Jealous.
I am.
But looking behind us has never served us quite as well as looking ahead. If you ever seek wisdom, or especially history, seek me out. And again, a small, very, very finely folded piece of paper. It's one of those like if you had a physical notepad, but it was folded up so neatly that it was almost like the dimensions of a cigarette. And he passes it to you.
With both hands, she'll reach up and take it. Very carefully. Having no purse nor pockets, she will simply hold it.
All of Magdalena's dresses have pockets.
There you
She
go.
will plug it carefully into her pocket.
That is real joy, ladies and gentlemen. You might not be alive anymore, but at least you have pockets.
Hey, listen, it's an achievement, right?
Yes. This is how we move forward through the centuries. We move forward.
Maggie is a smart woman.
Siritas,
Magdalena will bow her head slightly to Primogen Cretias and say, Primogen, I thank you for allowing me one of your own. I will take good care of her, as I have the other child that was gifted to me. And should I not meet your expectations, I would very much appreciate you informing me of a better way.
I have always found that the best way to learn is to find your own way. Advice Wisdom? I have. Wisdom is the most wise. When you learn for yourself the reasons why. Now I'm old as fuck. I'm tired. And almost like he breaks the old mentor
Agreed.
character. Walks in between both Magdalena and Mercy. Light pats on the shoulder as he walks by and moves out of the library. If nobody else stops him. This old guy going out on the town real fucking late at night.
Magdalena will then turn to Mercy and say, "That is your clan's primogen, which is kind of like the presiding member, the prince, you could say, of your specific clan. They make up the High Court and have a lot of say. It's good to have an inroad with one's primogen."
The fear from Roland right now.
The introduction and the subtle guidance.
Well, I must inform you now that you are considered, at least for all intents and purposes, for the court and the Camarilla, my childer, which comes with it some intricacies. There is a lot of expectation that I'll be placing on you, and we'll discuss that later.
Much as usual. Thank you.
Outside of this small conversation, the party, if it could have ever been deemed a party, seems to break up. Khalid, the Nosferatu, is, as expected, just fucking gone the next time you look at him. The others seem to begin to fade out, one at a time. Annabelle and the fucking harpy do detangle themselves out the door, so that one thing that you were thinking about having a chat with them seems to wait for another time. Adrian Tars briefly steps over, nods to Maggie, looks down to Mercy, and just gives a quiet, "Good luck. I'm sure you'll be fine." He smiles. Boy, those are sharp teeth. And he walks out, a slightly larger than usual shadow following him as he goes. Not quite in like the Dracula movie with the shadow, but it's just different enough to not really be able to not notice.
I'm sorry, what was his name?
Adrian Tars.
Oh.
Tars.
Okay. Oh, okay. And interesting shadow. Got it. Thank you.
Yep. And for the most part, unless anyone has anything else they need to talk to any of the other members of the court, they all see their way out, leaving you all in the library with what seems to be security waiting patiently for you to leave.
Sweet, I leave.
I'm right behind James.
Can't wait.
Mr. Kessler, Roland, one moment if I could.
I turn.
As I leave, I'm taking my jacket off.
So I assume that means James is like just fucking going. He's not waiting
Yeah.
when Maggie says anything.
No, absolutely not. Because
he's
my
outie?
character doesn't want to be here. My character doesn't want to be here at all.
And
He's
she
just here
asked.
because he has to be.
Okay.
Unless Magdalena makes me stay, like I'm leaving. But as far as I'm tracking, Magdalena has Like, I'm not required any more presence this evening than I've already done. Right?
Legally, that is a correct interpretation. That is
And
to the letter
as
interpretation.
long as it's to the letter, I'm doing exactly that. Unless somebody makes me stay.
Mr. Kessler, I have a job offer for you that I believe would be very beneficial for your future endeavors.
I stop.
Mercenary.
I already have a job.
If you assist me in the job that I'm going to offer you, I will assist you with every resource and connection at my disposal to help you accomplish your job even more effectively.
I am intrigued by what Magdalena is proposing.
So do
Now
you
I'm just trying to
return-
think of whether or not I can trust what Magdalena has to say.
Well, might as well wait until she says it.
Roland, that same offer is extended to you. The job that I would propose is assistance with me to find this Reese character that has sired Mercy here. Now, before you say no, for what it is worth, your actions in this town are often more lucrative than any other currency that you might possess. And in assisting me with this, I will guarantee you that my station and my resources will assist you both in your endeavors, as I am able, throughout the process, as well as I will compensate you along the way for anything that you might need. And at this moment you see a bit of, maybe the slightest bit of vulnerability in Magdalena. And she says, I find myself alone most of the time in this city. Though I've been here for years, I've often been looked at as the outsider, because of where I came from and because of those that were here before me. And while I know that at times I will acknowledge that I am a bit to handle, I can assure you both that should you agree to help me, you have my word, my honest word, that I will take care of you.
Take care of us? I want a clarification on that.
You do see a slight smile at that. And she goes, I will look after you and assist you in a helpful manner with your endeavors, and treat you with the respect that you deserve, that you wish to have. And at that, and looking around and making sure that no other members of court are left, just us, yeah?
Just you. And seems legit, Roland.
I look at James and I go, for what it is worth, and if it would perhaps sway you to assist me, I am I am truly sorry for making you uncomfortable earlier, and promise to you that in the future, if our acquaintances are maintained, it will not happen again.
My character looks conflicted. I ask, what is the task, and does it mean I have to work with these two?
Perhaps not directly, but maybe on occasion, if it is amenable to you. The task is to find her sire, a man by the name of Reese, according to that Tremere. I think
And
we
we're
can all...
and we are subjecting him to court law, or are we enforcing the sheriff's will at this point?
Well, depending on the evidence that we gather and the state in which we find this person, it would be wise for us to bring him before the sheriff first. But it has been my experience that the sheriff doesn't always need pristine packaging, if you understand me.
I shoot a glance towards Mercy, and I say, people who create kindred against their will is trash. They deserve to die.
I could not agree more with you.
Fine, I'm in. Just let me know when I leave.
Thank you, Mr. Kessler. Roland, I know
Yes.
that we...
Be back.
Let me refresh.
We are technically back.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yay! I see us.
Yay,
Yay.
we see us. Okay, sorry about that. We all had some kind of internet glitch, so I'm probably gonna plaster this onto the tail end of this, but we are absolutely very close to finishing here. But where last I had left off, Maggie was speaking to Roland after James had already gone.
Yes. Roland, I apologize for how we got off on the incorrect foot, though it was probably going to be that way regardless, as we are from two different times. Now that I guess you could say the vetting period is over, and you are recognized by the Camarilla and the city of Chicago, allow me to introduce myself to you truthfully. My name is Magdalena Masters, and it is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. If you would join me in this
That would-
endeavor,
Sorry.
I would extend the same courtesies to you as I did for Mr. Kessler.
So you're asking for my help in tracking down the gentleman that made Mercy.
Is gentleman really the correct word?
Correct.
I try to be.
You could use the word
What's-
trash.
No,
You could use the word...
See, I try to be civil as best I can in most situations. It's a lost art sometimes.
Agreed.
So you're looking for my help in finding him. I have one question that I need to ask you in a more private setting, which may or may not have bigger influence
Well-
on everything else.
I will say, As it is just us three here at this moment in time, and
Yeah.
Mercy is now my childer, this is about as private as you're going to get.
Yes. That being stated, ears are places that you wouldn't think.
That's fair.
Consider
Generally,
that.
though, at court, they do prevent this type of thing.
Hmm. What if it involves people from court?
Oh, I can't talk right now. I'm not here.
Well,
That's the downside of, and I walk away.
in the
Grumpy
event,
asshole.
Just trying to stay in character.
It's what he
dude.
would do. It's what he would do.
without trying to let on too much, if it would happen to involve someone that is part of the court, that would be something that we should definitely relay to the proper authorities. At this point, you're getting body language from Magdalena like, we can continue this conversation more secluded.
Yes. Well, proper authorities, yes. But concrete information is hard to come by.
Very true, and very needed
Indeed.
before any accusations are made.
Ooh.
Anyway, but on that separate note, I am fine with helping.
I appreciate it, and again, I assure you that you will see a different side of me.
No, thank
Unless-
you. I
Of course, you
don't
piss me
need
off.
to.
Nope, no thank you.
I'm good. I appreciate the thought, but I'm good.
Are you saying? Do you think I'm propositioning you? Because I assure you, there is no world or time period or universe, I believe, that would happen.
No,
You're wonderful,
The
dear,
way
and
you were-
musicians are definitely my flavor of choice, but I must tell you, never in a million years.
That's-
You're not my
that-
type.
well, that is for the best, but that way that came off, just saying, maybe a
Oh my god.
little less.
Did
Oh my
you
God.
just, that's what she said, you're elder?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen,
this is quite awkward.
with
Well, Roland, the sun will be up in a little bit. I would say the next time that we get together, let's discuss things at Nova. I will convene us all back together to begin the tedious task of finding this
Reese.
sire that is negligent.
So we are not naming him? Fantastic. Who shall not be named.
I don't understand that reference.
Sorry.
I assume it is one. Either way, I will contact you and we will get together at Nova.
Fantastic.
Oh, Lord.
and with that, a bunch of vampires leave the library.
Blink off into the night.
There are a great many ways that this night could have gone, and fortunately for Mercy, most of those things didn't necessarily come to pass,
I was secretly hoping you were going to get killed.
and not so.
I was-
Secretly? Secretly?
I don't know that it was very secret.
Yeah.
You were secretly hoping everybody in this party would get killed.
Yeah, then I can just go home.
and you end up going home anyway.
I did. I'm going.
You
home.
did. But with that, that'll, including technical glitches and all, conclude our third episode of Chicago by Night. Shit's happening. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you.
Appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all of the little private conversations and stuff, it just makes me think, man, we should just do really brief one-shots of conversations between two vampires sometime. That could be fun. That could be really fun. If we can beat the scheduling mini-boss.
Yeah.
Hey,
But-
James, how you doing?
Missouri, are you enjoying yourself so far?
Are you enjoying your first foray into Vampire the Masquerade?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I feel like as little as you coached me in this character creation, the very enabling aspect of you helping me create this character and your maniacal giggles as I did so really have paid off as this moves forward.
I'll even share it on the internet. There was a point where she went, okay, so how much can I fuck somebody over using my specialization in conflict resolution? And I was like, fuck, she's a vampire player. She just didn't know it.
She didn't know it, man. She don't even know it, dude.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Maggie's gonna open an orphanage next because all these
Absolutely.
kids she's getting.
It's getting ridiculous. Prince is starting to think that way too, though. Things are happening. That's the other fun thing about Chicago by Night. I went and counted it. There are around about close to 80 NPCs that are doing things at any given point. That exist in the city. Little ripples that everybody here does will either affect them, maybe not. Maybe you'll gain the attention of some of these people that you've met at court. Maybe you'll stay under their radar. Maybe you'll gain
Cross
the
my fingers,
attention.
I don't have to fucking deal with anybody.
Maybe you'll gain the attention of their rivals. Maybe they'll think that you're easy prey. Who knows? But regardless, I want to thank everyone again for joining us and sticking around through the goofy technical fuck up that just happened. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird.
Speaking of
Weird.
ripple effects,
Uh-oh. Oh yeah.
for this week,
This is actually important because in our game time, going into our next game, a week will pass before our vampires meet up again. That means you guys are capable of writing a downtime.
Okay.
Which means
you want us to post it in Discord, or what do you want to do?
just directly to me in Discord is fine.
Okay.
So, as
Well,
per usual, you complete a game, 2 XP. You guys add 2 XP to your sheet right now. You write a
Fantastic.
downtime with stuff that you want to do. That's an extra 1. I will let you know when you've earned it. Because I know certain Ventru have all kinds of machinations they want time to work on projects for.
I
And,
am so excited projects get to come back right now.
yep,
Oh god.
totally a thing.
You've already got my doc. I'm
Uh-huh.
waiting on your clearance.
Yep.
I got a break grant.
We'll
my
go,
permit.
Oh
we'll
my.
grow over that. But yes, you guys can definitely come up with things that you want to do with the city, connections you want to make, conversations you want to have, and
Yep.
things you want to do. What's Mercy's first hunt gonna look like? Where she actually goes out and gets something on her own. We can discuss all of that. And Dixon, that's a pretty good suggestion. Or privately recorded sessions that can go to the YouTube for a little side content. Be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be cool. Easier on scheduling too. But anyways, those of you who are watching, thank you again. My players, fan-fucking-tastic. You guys make me so happy, and you make it absolutely worth it to run a game like this. It can be such a pain in the ass, but you guys make it worth it.